Hello and welcome to today's show of Alienate UK. I'm joined by my wonderful co-assistant, co-host, Nicole. Welcome.
Hey.
And we have the amazing Chris Meek of Scottish Paranormal Podcast. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks very much.
No, thanks for coming on. Yeah, you got roped into this just for sending me a message this morning. Then it's like, yeah,
thanks for having me. Keeps me off the beer on the Friday night.
Yeah. Well, I thought, when I was chatting to you this morning, or this afternoon, I thought you've not been on for so long, and we keep trying to arrange it, but you keeps going on holiday to these exotic places.
I think that's right. I've run out of money now.
Run out of countries to go to. I think more that, innit? But no,
where have you been?
Great having you on.
I was in Bali for about a week and a bit, and then via Dubai on the way back.
Yeah.
So
nice.
I'll tell you a funny story as well, though. Just no paranormal story. I used to work at a college, I was a construction lecturer, and somebody in the resort in Bali had walked past me and said, "I know your face." And I was like, "Oh, I know you. You taught me." He stays in Australia now. It's quite funny, just bumping into an ex-student.
Wow. Small world.
Very small world. Yeah, totally.
Wow. Yeah, I just meet. I think when I went away first time, went abroad to Spain, I met a load of lads from like the local crap bit of where I'm from, and it's like they knew all the people that I knew. It's like I've come on holiday to get away from that, not to meet up with you all. I know where I'm not going. It's one of them.
Well, I don't. After going to Bali, I don't think about a holiday for a good wee while.
Yeah,
still cost me.
Yeah, I'm guessing it ain't cheap.
Yeah, definitely.
No. Right. So before we go straight into the show, do have a couple of updates. So the first one is the Halloween special, which is on the 25th of this month. It'll be myself, Nicole, and Tommy. Tommy's going to try and pop on tonight, but he's actually away.
I thought you were going to say birthday party.
At 40th birthday party.
Oh my God.
No, because I spoke to him on the phone the other day, and he's like, "No, I was going to like try and get on, but Mrs. friend and the Mrs. cousin, it's a 40th." I went, "So you're at a birthday party?" He just started laughing like uncontrollably for about 2 minutes. I'm like, you couldn't write, you could not write this.
Birthday related.
So Tommy is always at a birthday party. Every single week he's at a birthday party. So I don't even know there's that many people that I know that are like birthday every single week, one after the other.
It's usually kids' birthday parties. You're usually taking kids to kids' birthday parties, and then it's I think you go through a stage of life where you go kids' birthday parties, birthday parties, weddings, christenings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's when you start getting the funerals, that's when you want to start worrying because you know you're getting old.
Hopefully there's some retirement parties in there too.
Yeah. But I think Tommy he just looks in the local paper, right, whose birthday is it this week? I'll go around, I'll befriend them and then just go around and just like get an invite. I'm sure
I think he has a second career as like a birthday clown. That's why he's going.
Yes. Yeah. Never thought of that. Yeah, he said he might watch, so hopefully he can hear us slagging him off, which is always good. But yeah, so he's at a birthday. Anyway, so Tommy is 100% coming on the Halloween special. So the three of us, between us, are doing 4 spooky stories. Only one of them out of the 4 is real. The other 3 are made up. People in the chat and ourselves need to try and guess which one is the genuine one. And we get 10. So between me, Tommy, and Nicole, we get 10 questions each per person. And we can only reply yes or no. Then after that, then it's down to people in the chat to work out what the 3 are. And the first one in the chat to get all 3 correct will get, don't know if you can see that sign behind me, a neon sign. It says Alienate UK. You can have it in selected fonts, various colours and different sizes. So whoever gets it will have one of them, and it will just get sent direct to their house. So you can choose your colour, your size, and not got every font, but there's a few different fonts on there. So you get to choose which it is. I was going to give that one away, but if somebody wants a different colour, bit crap in it really. If you want green and you've got blue, you're just like, yeah, stuck with it. But it's got a dimmer switch on it as well, and a on-off switch. Do you know, like you get on the ring light? But you get the 3 different things, so you get that on it. So yeah, so that's what you get for that. The 24-hour live stream. So I was going to do it in 2 12-hour streams, but one, we're going to struggle because me and Nicole are doing it. Sarah may be coming on. Tommy will be jumping on at some point. We've got a couple of co-hosts that are going to be coming on at various times. We have 22 plus guests coming on. I think we know 9 guests. The other ones, nickname has got them all booked in. We don't have a clue who that person is until they come on the screen. So I won't have any bio, won't know anything about that person. I know some of them I will know, some of it, a lot of them I won't know, and they're not all paranormal either. So just to mix it up a bit. So we're doing that. So what I'm doing, it's going to be done in 8 parts. So it's going to be split into 8 3-hour sections. One, if you're watching it back, it's easier. If you want to watch a certain part, or if somebody just wants to watch a certain person coming on, it's easy to find it when there's only 3. So each guest is a 1-hour slot. So the first one, because it starts at 8:30, the first half hour we're doing about what's going to go on, and then it's 3 guests, and it's like that all the way through until the last one, and the last one's 2.5 hours. So there'll be two 1-hour slot guests, and then we'll do the last half hour with a outro of what's gone on and how we feel like death and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's the 1st of November, 8:30 p.m. UK time, 3:30 EST, 12:30 PST, 2:30 CST. As I said, they're the only time zones that I know, and I'm not even going to try and think of any others. So there's that. But 2 weeks tomorrow, we are going to Rendlesham Forest for a meetup. Meeting up with Alex Lovelock and Elaine. Simon Riley's coming down. Tim is coming over, and then they're going to come to mine. Then we're going to go down there, meet up around about 2:30. The official meetup, I think, is about 4:45, either 4:45, 4:45. But I want a little bit of a mooch about in a particular area before everyone gets there. And I do have a new toy for investigating, and I got it today. Are you ready? It's a DJI Mini 2 drone, 2K. It does a distance of 3 miles. It's got 3 batteries with it. Each battery lasts about 15-20 minutes, thereabouts. So as long as it doesn't get shot down by the military, I think we'll be all right.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, so tried it. It works. It's all good. It's easy to use, but the controls are just getting your head around what's what. And it's fairly quiet as well. I was saying to Nicole before, I was trying it out in the back garden before, it was about 4 foot away from me, and it sounded like it was like a few bees knocking about. So I think if it's at the treetops, you're not really going to hear it. And the camera, I think the camera's 2K, so it is a good camera on it. So yeah,
sounds good.
So yes, so I'm going to try it out this weekend and put some. Yeah, I'm going to put some videos up online, and then go from there. So yeah, that's a Rendlesham one. So
can I just interrupt you a minute? How long are you staying overnight, or are you going to be into the early hours of the morning?
I'm going to stay till late in the night. So I'm not planning on getting back home before midnight, and it's a 2-hour drive or just over. So Yeah, depends if we get chased out, because I know Alex has been there's been unmarked vehicles that have chased them out of there, like completely blacked out, stuff flying over that they've not been able to see. So yeah, it's quite active on there again now as well. So it'll be good to go again. So I'm quite looking forward to it. And there'll be no mosquitoes or anything. That'll be the best bit, because it's too cold for them.
Yeah, they'll be dead.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, so that's pretty much all I've got lined up for the next month or so. I do have a couple of things for next year that I can't talk about. I really, really, really want to talk about it, but
do it.
I can't. I know I've told a couple of people, and these are like just amazingly like wow factor opportunities. So the projects that I've been asked to do, and I'm like, oh my god, and that's all I can tell you. So yeah, that's going to be coming in 2025. So yeah, that's it. Cannot say. It's like literally top secret. So, but it's good. It is really good. Yeah,
the more you talk, the more you're going to give away.
No, I was just going to say it's good for the channel as well. It's really good for the channel. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it.
So everybody, fingers crossed that the super secret thing works out. Yes.
Yeah. There's I said, no reason why it shouldn't. Everything's progressing, so good. You two have any updates or anything that you want to talk about?
I'm going to the 1890 house in Cortland tomorrow for an overnight. Yep. So that'll be fun. Then Sunday we have a library presentation. We're just totally jam-packed in October.
It's always the way, isn't it?
So everybody watch TikTok for the lives and YouTube for the lives.
Yep. That's it. It's a bet. I think October, November are the best 2 months for like the world of paranormal.
I think anytime is good for the
it's really, really dark. Yeah. It's really, really dark, but no as cold as January and February.
Yeah, it's just right. It's just right. Yeah.
And the veils are the thinnest, if you believe in that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Believe in anything. So yeah. Yeah. Not all, how is it? Not all dust are orbs.
Yeah.
Or is it not all orbs are dust?
Not all orbs are dust. Yeah.
It's one of them two anyway.
So in regards to me, just gonna plod away, doing what I can paranormal wise, getting some shows in now and again. Busy with work, as we all are, stuff like that, trying to juggle everything. Still keep my hand in, just listen to stuff constantly and read stuff constantly. And I was up in Ben McDoo. You'd seen me on the Paul Sinclair show. We're talking about Ben McDoo. So Nicole, if you don't know Ben McDoo, it's the second highest mountain in Scotland, and renowned for having the big grey man in Ben McDoo, which is some people perceive it to be some type of either mysterious creature or a Sasquatch or whatever. You know what I mean? It's been seen over like the last kind of couple hundred years. So I had a night up there. It was pretty cold because you're up quite high. So it's 3,000 feet up. I think the mountain's about 4,000 feet, just under 4,000 feet. So the plateau below the top, I'd camped there during the night, and it was pretty cold, probably about zero. No, really, really cold, but cold enough.
Yeah.
So that was it. Kind of uneventful kind of night. You see a nice night. Got to see the Milky Way and stuff like that. Had a few weird noises and things, but there's a lot of interesting stories up there when you look into it. So I mean, throughout the years, some I mentioned on Paul's show, just highlight a couple. You know what I mean, so one of the main stories goes back to the late 1800s, where there was a famous kind of professor. He was a good climber as well, and he was up in the mountain, and he seen this massive kind of grey figure coming towards him, or footsteps. In fact, footsteps he'd actually had coming towards him, and there's nobody else there. And he ran all the way back down the hill, which is a good feat because it's about 7-8 miles away to where he went. So he must have seen something. People did really seen something. But over the years, people have said they've seen this grey creature, grey man, loads of weird activity up there as well, where people have maybe stayed in this place called the Shelter Stone. It's like a cave, and they've heard footsteps coming down the night. A really, really hard, steep bit of terrain, and there's not been any lights or anything like that as well. So it's been this creature, whatever it is. So I'm looking to go back up there again next year and do a bit of a kind of excursion and stuff, and try and get up there and do a bit of filming and stuff like that as well. But interesting place up there. So so that was kind of that bit of excursion. I've got Jim Segala coming on in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
quite interested.
Top guy.
Yeah, interested to talk to him in regards to a few things I heard him mentioning when he was talking to Ross Coulthart on basically about the technology in regards to what he was doing in the Uinta Basin, and then obviously experiencers and correlating the data between the experiencers and to the data that they were blogging and logging to what his obviously devices that were taken up. So the other thing as well was talking about health effects. So talking about health effects, and then he was talking about, I don't know if there's a linkage there between Havana syndrome and obviously experiencers, because some experiencers may have some of the same type of ailments or whatever it is as what you would get with Havana syndrome. I'm quite interested in that aspect there as well, because that personally I suffer from a thing called electrosensitivity, and it's the exact same type of thing as Havana syndrome. So as in when I seen Havana syndrome come at the start off with, they thought it was like some type of sonic weapon, and I'd seen actually all the different bits of the condition. I was like, that's EMF or EMR related. Yeah, which it was.
So I was going to say, for those that don't know, do you want to explain what Havana syndrome is? I know it's to do with the different sound waves.
Yeah, well, Havana syndrome. Havana syndrome. Going to coin the name, and forgive me if I didn't go through the story right, so I'll need to kind of remember it. But there was in the American embassy, which is in Cuba, Havana, Cuba, where there was loads of people in the building were targeted in regards to, well, they thought they were targeted by some type of sonic weapon. They had like pains in their ears, migraines, rashes, like really, really quite a lot of strange symptoms and they were all in the same kind of building. They worked for, like, some of them worked for the CIA and stuff like that. And they initially thought it was some type of sonic weapon. But then looking further into the study and studying the people and stuff like that, they actually found it was more to do with like an EMF, like a electromagnetic field or a electromagnetic radiation blast that caused this. So it's basically like a microwave weapon, which caused this, the condition. So that's why I've kind of got an interest in it. So people are saying there's maybe some, not a total connection, but there's maybe some experiencers with the same type of basically parts of the condition, or they'll have the exact same type of rundown of symptoms that would have numerous symptoms. So the interest that I've gotten is I get quite a lot of these symptoms as well because of the electrosensitivity. I've managed to manage it now. But it's not going into too much of that, but that's caused, I don't know if it's caused by it, but EMR and EMF radiation exacerbates it. So it actually, you can feel phones, you can feel Wi-Fi, you can feel all that, and it just gets worse and worse and worse the more you use. So like where I stayed around, for example, everything's hardlined. There's no wireless in my house at all. I use the phone now and again, but I use mobile data sparingly. Then I use Wi-Fi. Then I use Bluetooth. Because if I used it continually, it would give me migraines. It would give me rashes in my face. It would give me pains in my ear. It would give me pains in my eyes and stuff like that. Just some crazy things. Like my mouse, for example. I've got a mouse here, right? Can you see it? Is it there? I cover my mouse with this bit of material because you can actually feel the electrics traveling up my hand. It's totally nuts. It's totally nuts, right? So I've just learned to live with it and then manage it. Now, it wasn't until years ago when I worked in the college. It got worse because I worked in a environment where there was Wi-Fi. There was I worked with a tablet all the time, and I had it, but it got progressively worse because technology was getting more and more ramped up. And I managed to do something about it. I just kind of thought, right, I need to do something about this. So I just looked into it all, done loads of shielding, and I managed to actually kind of bring it right down a bit with some of the stuff I did. So, and just on another note, a byproduct of the whole thing gave me the hum. See the hum? The thing that people talk about, the noise, the low frequency noise. I had that for 5 years, right?
Wow.
And it was like, we're into this a wee bit. If you want to talk about this, I'll just talk about this for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I had electrosensitivity, which is I was sensitive to EMF and EMR radiation. I had it since I was like maybe 20, 21-year-old. And it got progressively worse as technology got worse. And you can imagine the way it gets worse is like it accumulates. So if I use a phone, then I use Wi-Fi, it's almost like it's just building up. Then I use maybe something else. Even like monitors and screens, radiation comes out screens to a certain distance as well. So that would exacerbate it as well. So I ended up had to look into it all to try and reduce it, and I did. I mean, so with shielding and just working with it and limiting what I did and what I used, so I can use things now as much. But when I worked in the college, I used to come home at night, and I could remember saying to the wife, it was like 12 o'clock at night when everything settled down and I was going to bed, I could hear like the rumbling of a diesel engine, right?
Yeah.
And at the time we had a building site. I stayed in a new estate, and they were still building houses in the next field over. And I could remember saying to my wife, "Can you hear the diggers driving about?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And I got up, I'd go outside, and I couldn't hear nothing outside, but I could hear it in a structure. And it was like a loud diesel engine, like outside your house. And this got worse. And I ended up, and I heard it. I could hear it in a structure. I could hear it in a car sometimes, and I could hear it in a wood sometimes, right? And I know people look at the hum and they try and look at the conspiracy angle of it, and they maybe try and find out what the noise is. I looked into all that aspect of it, right? What the noise could be. But there was things where there was like, looked at a lot of different stuff. You get farm machinery, which causes low frequency noise. You've got the backblasty planes, which propagates over hundreds of miles, and that causes low frequency noise that you can pick it up. So for some reason, I don't know what the actual low frequency noise was. You could record that. Because I could go like that, put my fingers in my ears, and I couldn't hear it. It was a definitely external noise.
Okay.
It was a definite external noise. And you can actually hear it on like a sound recording kind of synthesizer type thing, right? That was really, really low frequency. So I kind of just stopped looking into what the noise was and then try to figure out why I was hearing that. So it was a byproduct of having the exposure to EMF and stuff like that. So I noticed when I worked in the college, every time I worked upstairs, where I basically had a lot more EMF and EMR radiation affected me, the hum was louder, right? The hum was louder when I went home at night. So I ended up looking into it all, shielding, cutting things out, doing stuff like that. And I found out by using monitors, see, just like actual computer monitors, that exacerbated that a great deal, right? And when I cut them out totally and done reductions elsewhere, it reduced about 80%, and the hum disappeared within 2 weeks, right?
Oh,
and I can bring it back again, so I can start using the tech and using Wi-Fi and using phones, and the hum will come back. So it does some. It does some of the actual, for me, in my head. I don't know if it's right or no, but I kind of thought it done something like affecting like the fluid in the back of your ear, your eardrum, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was doing, solidifying something. So you're actually maybe hearing that frequency or whatever. Yeah, I don't know that it works yet, but I managed to get rid of it. So, so that's, to cut a long story short, that's it. So that's why my interest is in the kind of Havana syndrome side of it and that. I mean, so I don't know why I've got it and how I got it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm an experienced or nothing. It's just that I started when I was like 20-year-old. You know what I mean? So
I say, missing time. I think I've asked you this before.
I've missed a lot of time in my teens, my late teens and 20s. So
not that sort of missing time. No. See, I'd never heard of it until you first told me about that, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Never. God, don't know anyone else that had.
No, I'm in groups online.
Experiences.
I'm in groups online on Facebook,
Yeah.
where it was people with the same condition, and I never really met anybody else with it apart from in this group. And
Yeah.
there's no lot of people with it. But I mean, I went to the extremes. Like my kids have got Xbox Ones and stuff like that and things, and I've stripped them down and took all the chips at them, so they don't send a Wi-Fi signal. They don't send a signal to the controllers. They're all wired and stuff like that. So I managed to just circumvent loads of stuff. So they cut it all out. So yeah. So
oh wow.
That.
Yeah, I've heard people are more sensitive, but never to that extent.
Yeah.
No.
So.
I'll tell you a funny thing though, because like I still can feel it, like strong EMF and EMR signals and stuff like that now and again. I still use text. I use like my phone for work. I use my PC, but I just hard link quite as much as I can. If I'm staying away, I need to use Wi-Fi and stuff, so I can use it, but I just use it like sparingly. But so when you do use it, it accumulates and you can feel things a lot easier. And there was a bit where I could remember I used to go to this wood. And it's middle of nowhere, and it's like there's hills, a reservoir and about it. And I got to this bit of wood, and I would go through this bit. And the other guys I spoke to who were into the same type of paranormal, they said there's a strange bit about this section of the wood, and I would always feel a pain, the same type. It's a different sensation, right? So I knew I could feel it at this bit. So it happened to me about 3 times, and I said the next time I go, I'm going to bring my EMF meter, and I've done it. And just at that one section, for maybe about 20 meters, it went off the scale and then dropped down again. You know what I mean? So there was no mass about it or anything like that, but there was something. One of the, you know how you get the big massive ball type radar things? There's one of them on a kind of mountain or hill, like maybe about 10 miles away or something. You can see it. So I don't know if it's that or no, but the funny thing was, if you're picking up a signal with an EMF meter, you'd think it would be everywhere, but it was just on a so narrow directed path. You would walk into the path there, it'd be there for 25, 20 meters, something like that, then it would disappear. And it was nothing else is obstructing it. I mean, you were in an area where you could see it. So, but it's funny I picked up on that. So that was the kind of.
Have you not looked into it, like to see if it is that? Because if it is and it's pointing to that exact location, why is it pointing there?
Because I don't know. I mean, I only went up this. It was only this year I went up with the EMF meter. I made a wee video with it and stuff like that. But because I'd been there so many times and had that feeling, every time I'd went, when I took the dog or something like that, I'd forget to take my EMF meter. So I just thought, like, this time I'm going to take it. I'd done it, and it was exactly what I thought. It was off the scale at that one part. It was like there's nothing there. You weren't getting no signal at all. And you walked to this bit and it just went off the scale. And it would do it for about 28 meters or something, and then it would just cut off. You know what I mean? So,
does the dog...
nothing paranormal, you know what I mean? But may not be.
You never know. You never know.
Never know.
Did the dog pick anything up?
A bone.
Did it react?
No.
No reaction or nothing.
No, nothing.
No.
Have you heard of the opposite, where it's called the street light interference phenomena, where people affect electronics?
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, as well, where things turn off and about them and things like that. Yeah.
And they mess with like electric equipment. Some people like give out a higher frequency or something.
I used to do that.
That's a definite thing. Yeah.
I used to do that where I used to work. Used to work in retail, hated it, never ever go back. Don't recommend it to anyone. And we used to have the scanners for going around the store. Every time I picked one up, not just there, but a couple of other places that have worked with like similar sort of things, like in the warehouses and that, I'd pick a scanner up and it just shut down. It just switched it. They couldn't turn it back on. And there's one day it happened to 5 of them. And I found out afterwards 3 of them had to get sent back because they wouldn't work again.
It's mad. Yeah, I've heard that. People like walking
got a clue. Didn't feel anything
going out and things like that.
Yeah.
I found out about it. I was at like a lecture and somebody was like doing it was like a dowsing rod and they were trying to like identify, they're called, they were so they're called sliders. Street light interference.
Yeah, I mean, it's
they were like, "You're lying." Like, that makes sense, because the more frustrated I get at work, the less the computers work.
Well, you think as well, but we're electrical beings, you know what I mean? So it's no hard to understand that. I mean, there's a thing as well when you look into if you're into hunting and stuff like that. I'm no personal myself, but they're actually there's some suits you can buy that, because like animals can sense your electric field apparently. All right, so if you're hunting, for example, and so people wear like a shielded, an EMF shielded suit. So it's literally like you're inside a Faraday cage.
Yeah.
You just wear this kind of suit, and then so that the actual other animals and stuff like that kind of feel your electric field. Then you even get them. You even get them as well for free diving suits as well.
Oh yeah.
Where there was a video my mate was talking about, and he said that because he's into like free diving and spearfishing, sorry. And he said that you can, when you go for like a lobster or something like that, and you go to grab one of it, so you can see it in a crevice, it'll kind of retract and pull back and stuff. But if you had that suit on, or whatever, the type of kind of suit that it basically kind of kept in your electric field, they wouldn't move at all. They wouldn't notice you. You can just pick them up and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it is a thing. I mean, there's like companies out there that sell like hunting ghillie suits or hunting suits and stuff like that, which are just they're basically the material, that material there, for example, right? I can't remember what this is made of, but back in the day, when I was like good number of years ago, I was like just getting pissed off with it, and I was looking into it in depthly to try and find things to shield myself with and stuff like that. I found a company in Switzerland, and it was called Swiss Shield, and they basically sold the material, which was, it looks like just a kind of a white linen, thicker kind of type of bed sheet, but it was actually made with copper, silver, and a material through it as well. So if you wrapped it around you, it was totally like a Faraday cage. I used to be like the guy in Better Call Saul, like that kind of sheet wrapped in me and stuff like that. I mean, that's kind of, he had the guy in that. So anyway, enough of the electrical sensitivity. That's the last talk about it. That's my pain in my life. I mean, so
I'm
just waiting for you to put your tinfoil hat on.
Brian said a lot of near-death experience survivors get electrosensitive and can't wear watches.
Oh, didn't know that.
Me either.
It is interesting because obviously it's got to have something to do with the neurons and electrons in the body. Mm-hmm. It's got to be some sort of reaction with them or to them.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a funny one though. I mean, it's interesting when you look into it, because that was the thing that Gary Nolan was involved in as well, with doing the study on the people with Havana syndrome, and then linking the same kind of thing to some experiences as well. So I'm not saying every experiencer kind of had that, but there was some with the same type of condition or symptoms as like Havana. But I mean, initially I think they thought it, as I said at the start, I thought it was like a sonic weapon, but then they kind of found out it was like predominantly probably like an EMF blast or like some type of microwave weapon.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So interesting stuff, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you see anything about the James Webb stuff that was getting bandied about recently?
I did actually see some day on Wednesday. Something popped up on, I think it was Facebook or Instagram.
Mm-hmm. James Webb Telescope finds a strange galaxy shining brighter than stars. Is that what you're talking about?
So there was a few different things. So apparently, this isn't totally clarified yet, but like looking at some of the different chats that was going on and looking at some of the people who were maybe talking, who knew astronomers who were supposed to be in the know and things like that, there was supposed to be technosignatures potentially picked up for another planet. And there was also supposed to be a signature picked up with something that's supposed to be traveling here, and it's made corrections, and it's basically it's made deviations and corrections.
Oh,
you know what I mean, so that's I'll send the link to the actual video the guy made and stuff like that. But there's a few things like that going on about, and then apparently this has been known about for a wee while, and then they went to it was actually, I think it started off with the European Space Agency, and they went to the UN, and the UN basically says get more data on it.
Yeah.
And then, but apparently, I mean, I could remember like when all the Lou Elizondo videos were going about, when I was watching most of these podcasts it was on. And it was either in the same way John Ramirez, the CIA guy. And when I'm sure one of them said, keep an eye out for what comes with James Webb will see. Because obviously, if something like that comes out, that's an easier kind of pill for people to swallow than it will be maybe the American government coming out and saying, right, this is disclosing and this is what we've got or whatever else. So if it comes with something, it's going to become with something like the James Webb has found a techno signature. It basically it means one of the ones where there's a few things, right? One of the ones where they've like seen potentially artificial lights, right, coming from a planet. The other one was where, which is true, it's dimethyl sulfide or something like that, which has been thinking in the atmosphere, which can only be produced for organic creatures, which is totally confirmed. I think that has been confirmed. Another one was, this is like a supposedly, don't know if it's true or whatever, a rumor or conspiracy or whatever, but there's one where it's supposed to be something coming towards Earth, which isn't Apophis, and it's basically it's made course corrections.
Because we've got that, what they call is a second moon, a mini moon.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be coming. Is it like it's here for 3 months,
2
and then
months.
it's going again.
Next 2 months, we're gonna have a second moon.
Yeah,
starting Sunday.
But how is that possible? Because I was reading stuff and watching videos and that, and it's like, how can they get another one just come in, stay, and then go back out? Surely once it gets pulled into the Earth's atmosphere, then it stays like the moon.
Don't know.
Does it not?
I'm not
unless it's got its own.
But we have got that thing coming in, and then it does its rounds and then buggers off. And we've got Apophis coming in. So Apophis, if you don't know what Apophis is, Apophis is anybody in the chat then like that, it's a asteroid or whatever else is coming towards Earth, and 2020, it passes by in 2027 as far as I know, and then comes back, and people believe it's going to hit in 2027, right? But it's basically been kind of saying that it's not going to hit in 2020. It's going to be close, but it's not going to hit in 2027. But it's coming back again in 2036, I want to say, right? Yeah. It comes back again in that. But there was an old guy who worked for, I can't remember his name, I've seen a video of it, who worked for Lockheed Martin, and he said, he talked about Apophis right at the start and says they're watching this very, very closely, and it's going to hit Earth in 2027, or it's going to come by in 2027, it's going to hit in 2036 or something like that. That's what he said.
So it's going to come 2027, hit one side, go around, come back and hit the other.
But I mean, it's interesting if you think about
job.
If you think about the whole Apophis thing, right? If you look into it and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Some people can believe it's going to hit, some people didn't, and NASA and that said it's not going to hit. It's going to pass by, and it's not going to hit again in 2036. It's going to be close, but it's not going to hit us, right? But when you look into all the stuff that's been going on in the last number of years, I mean, I say number of years, like the last couple of decades, where they've recently done stuff where, like the DART missions, where they've been sending satellites up or like spaceships up to go and basically try and land on an asteroid to see if they can move it or put it off its trajectory and things like that. So I think it came in the news streams today saying about they could potentially move them with like nuclear detonation, close to them as well, would move them off the trajectory. And so all these type of things, and there's another DART mission planned, which I think it's a kind of the same kind of thing planned for 2027 as well.
Yeah.
So I just find all these things quite interesting. You know what I mean? But no one to alarm anybody, you know what I mean? But it's one to look at.
This is the thing, because you were saying about how much all this stuff contradicts itself. Mm-hmm. So you get all these supposed time travelers, and they're coming back from like 2045 and saying this has gone and that's gone on. But then you've got all these predictions of like the end of the earth and what have you in whatever year. We've probably had about 20 in the last 3 years or something.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
how can they be coming back from that year and
different timeline?
Well, that's what I was going to think. Is it a different timeline or is it a crossover in dimensions?
Different timeline. That's it. Different dimension.
Coming back and telling everybody that the world is going to end in 2027 changed the fact that the world is ending in 2027.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching
just by saying it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you can looking at stuff like or having future. Looking into the future and stuff like that can be changed. It's only a prediction of what's actually happened at that time, at that present. That future's only for that, so it can be changed.
Yeah.
Apparently.
But my take on this now is if these time travelers are real and do exist, so when they go to whatever time and come back, and when they mention it, then that I think that's a cause of Mandela effect because straight away it changes the timeline. So it also has an effect on everything else that has a direct contact of what's being spoken about.
I'm not convinced that the Mandela effects are not like some wide-scale government cover-up just to like see what they can get people to believe.
But how can they cover it up?
Have you seen? We've talked about the Fruit of the Loom thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, where she found the patent and everything. They are gaslighting us into believing there was no cornucopia.
I don't know, but see, I've got another one. You might not know this one. So do you watch EastEnders in the US? No, don't bother. It's crap. Anyway, it's a soap opera set in
the best paranormal show you've seen.
It's set in London. Like, is it East End? East End, I think it is. I've not watched it for years.
Okay.
And there was a character in it called Pat Butcher. Her real name is Pat St. Clement. Her character got killed off. I was actually having the conversation with Baby with the Laser about this the other day. But I'm sure Pat St. Clement, the actress, died in real life, and that's why they got rid of her. Yeah, I Googled it, Wikipedia and all that, and she's still alive. She's something like 78, 82 or something, like late 70s, early 80s, and she's still alive. But I remember hearing that she died.
Maybe just on EastEnders.
No,
yeah, I thought I was having a conversation the other day too that Warwick Davis died, but Warwick Davis never died.
No.
But we vividly remember Warwick Davis dying. People posting like things about it, and no, he's still alive. We did not believe it.
But I checked Google, Wikipedia. I even went on Bing, and I never use Bing, and I hate that as much as EastEnders. And they all said she's still like whenever she was born till present. You know, where they don't put put the death date because it's still alive. But she did die. People are saying that she did that Pat Della effect.
Yeah, listen, just why don't you get her on as the next guest and we can just the Pat Della effect on.
But if everyone Google it now, whatever stream you use, network.
She did die.
She's not. She's still alive.
She's still alive. Andy.
Hey, I don't even like it. That's the best bit. What it was, I was scrolling through Facebook and a picture of her popped up, and I'm like, and it's supposed to have been like a few days ago. I thought that can't have been. She died like a couple of years ago. Nope, she's still alive.
You know who did die today? Maggie Smith. From Harry Potter. From Downton Abbey.
Oh, the one with dark hair. Possibly. I have seen Harry Potter. Warwick Davis was in that as well.
Was Pat Butcher in it?
No, she's dead.
You know her if you saw her, I think.
Hey? Yeah, no, I know what you mean now. I know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So, thing to look out for, there's going to be like more hearings coming up. 13th of November. Look out for 13th of November. More hearings in the US. So, that's going to be after the election. So when the election's done and dusted,
Yeah.
there's another hearing with Arrow. So
If the election ends.
We'll see how that goes. You know what I mean? So that'll be quite interesting. And can't remember her name, but there's one of the ones who's going to be on the panel, which was quite good. I'll just double check and I'll tell you.
Yeah.
She was on. If I got it actually. Yeah. It is. What's her name? Nancy Mace is chairing it. So she was quite good in the last hearings with Grush.
Oh, right, yeah.
So yeah, so that was quite good. There's going to be, well, I'll not be quite good, but we'll see how it pans out. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So hopefully we'll want some answers.
Yeah. Before I forget, I need to do this. Well, I've got to do two things. Right, that's one. This Friday show, Saturday show, we are part of Unex Network over in the US. And we go out at 10 p.m. EST most weeks, sometimes depending on when I remember to send the link over, it might go out on a Monday, but that's only happened once.
Later,
so we're part of the next network of Paranormal Radio. So welcome and hello everyone who listens on there. Thank you for letting us be part of that. So yeah, 10 p.m. EST, and we are also on Podcast Player on Spotify, Apple Music, and every other podcast player you use. So thank you for everyone that listens on there as well.
Brian said, "Is Nelson Mandela dead?"
Oh,
I think
yeah,
he died now.
He died twice. We can't have a third death of Nelson Mandela. Come on, that's just.
He died in the 80s and died again in 2013.
Yeah, it's like teens of the 20s. His body died. His energy's still out there somewhere.
That's true.
Causing other Mandela effects. That's what he's doing. It's him. It's just him all. It's just him all along, isn't it?
He was mad that nobody realized that he was still alive, so he went back and created all these Mandela effects.
Yeah, but he left it like, was it 23 years or something? 27 years? I don't know. It was quite a while anyway.
Yep.
So, so that's my thing is, if they're altering timelines, then they're with the time travel or some sort of space-time manipulation, then I think that's what could be causing Mandela effects.
Realistically, yes, because they could make like a small change that they think is kind of insignificant just to see what kind of butterfly effect it would have on the future. Yeah.
Because it could be CERN that are doing it. Because that's the sort of thing that they do, apparently. I always say apparently, they can't see you then.
Yeah. Chris, what are your thoughts on CERN?
Sorry? Mine? Oh, Chris.
What are your thoughts on CERN?
I think there's more to it than they're letting on. I mean, in regards to there's too much there basically. I think they're maybe potentially created something. You know what I mean? That might be the thing that's going to destroy the planet. You never know.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's 70 miles diameter.
Yeah. It's massive.
So it's not like it's like a couple of 100 feet or something. It's like, don't know what, 17 times 17. And then you've got the full scale of it.
I seen that, just saying that, I seen like, I was flicking through X and I'd seen, I didn't read into it, but it was a Swedish scientist had said that they've basically created a portal underneath where it is because of the Hadron Collider. Don't know how much that's
all
true.
Right.
I mean, so conspiracy theories. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've not got too much thoughts on it, but I reckon there's a lot more to it than it's just like smashing particles together. Yeah. I think there's something could be produced there, or there's something else. I mean, I think there must be some. I reckon you'll have like some really weird stories there for scientists and stuff like that.
Yes.
I reckon you would have. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's 289 square mile.
It's mad.
That's a big place. Why would you need something? Obviously, you've got offices and you're going to have shops and residential places under there. Like, I suppose, like Area 51, isn't it? But that's still big. How big's this collider?
Imagine they've created something or done something and they are trying to manage it best they can.
Maybe that is the entrance to Inner Earth and it's not Antarctica.
Could be. But then where did Admiral Byrd go?
Don't know. Is he still alive?
The Admiral Byrd effect.
He was like, what, 70 in like 1920s or whatever. He could be. He's in Argentina with all the everyone from World War II. That's where he is.
So we're talking earlier about Leo Elizondo's book, obviously. So
yes.
his book's come out and he's been doing the podcast. There's a lot of kind of podcasts he's been down with. Has he done the kind of circuit before with loads of podcasters, and he's been doing it kind of again, obviously going out and just going through maybe parts of the book and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Some of the interesting revelations for the book. No way to ruin it for anybody, but it's like you probably heard it in other channels as Roswell was real. There was bodies, other kind of things as well, where they were talking about health effects, and there's also talking about there's loads in it, obviously. You know what I mean? I'd advise to go and read it or listen to it. You know what I mean? You get it in audio.
Yeah.
But there's quite a lot of good wee snippets in there. You can pull things for things where obviously there was. He talked about somebody in the CIA. Him and his wife had some type of experience, and they had implants put in the back of their necks, which they had seen the implant, and they said it basically moved in its own accord once it was taken out the body. It was trying to evade. It was trying to evade. It said it had its own metabolism.
Yeah.
And the person, the actual scientist that was looking at it, said, "Didn't want to look at that again." So that was one of the kind of things that came with the book. There's quite a lot of stuff in the book, but the interesting thing is now, where so Leo Elizondo's book's out. It went to #1 New York bestseller, and then Jay Stratton. If you watch Skinwalker Ranch, for example, Jay Stratton was either in charge of the OSAP program or one of the head ones of the OSAP program, and then he also set up the UAP task force when it came out before like Ames, Hog and Arrow, and he was also one of the guys that come into Skinwalker Ranch. So if you read any of the books in regards to the second one with Skinwalker Ranch, and they talked about the actual rod where they're the hitchhiker effect, and this wolf thing went basically was seen in his garden. That was Jay Stratton that we're talking about. So he's got, so when they talk about in the second book, they're talking about actual rod, this person, and they said basically that he stayed 2,000 miles away from the ranch, and they had orbs in their house, the same as Leo Elizondo said that as well. He had like orbs in his house and stuff like that. Jay Stratton had that, along with the seen some type of dogman creature out the back garden next to a tree looking in, and his wife seen it, they seen it, they chased it, they got out and the thing ran away. It was running in bipedal, kicking up leaves as it went. So it was an actual thing. It was an actual thing. And it was, they didn't say who actual rod was, but it came out it was Jay Stratton. So Jay Stratton's a guy you've seen in the game on Skinwalker Ranch. He was quite high up in Pentagon. So he was one of the ones that originally got Leo Elizondo to kind of to come on board. So he's got a book in the pipeline as well. So if we do get hearings and we get people coming forward, it'll be like Leo Elizondo. You've got obviously like Jay Stratton, who's like been heavily involved in it. They'd also talked about the thing with the craft that was in Lou's book, Lockheed Martin and stuff like that as well, but they didn't try to divest it. So there's quite a lot in there, but there's that, and then Grush has got something coming out as well in regards to memoirs and things like that. So there's going to be a systematic information kind of like just basically offload coming one after the other to keep the kind of, I reckon, to keep the kind of movement going as well. So, and I reckon and I'll say supposedly, right, just in case, but I reckon the person they was talking about that got found in a back garden with I think in their back garden, and they had like an implant in the back of their neck, like the guy and his wife. And I'll say supposedly Jim Semivan, maybe, because he talked about he had experiences and stuff like that as well, quite high up in the CIA. Don't know. Say supposedly though, might not be. But yeah, so other things that's came out recently as well. If you follow the Tom DeLonge stuff, Tom DeLonge, so and To the Stars, so Peter Lavender, he was involved in writing a few books. It was basically God's Man in War. Wars just came out recently.
Right.
Really interesting chats. If you ever look at like TTSA chats, quite interesting in regards to the discussions that you hear between Jim Semivan, who was quite high up in the CIA, Peter Lavender, who was basically into basically done a lot of kind of studies and writing on the occult and stuff like that in America, things like that. And then obviously Tom DeLonge as well. Interesting things to look into.
Yeah, because I follow him on Facebook, Tom DeLonge, and he's put a reel up on 19th of September, and he says he's talking about the UAP phenomena, the reason for secrecy and contact military and intelligence officials have had. So I watched that the other day. That's definitely worth watching because he just goes all out there and
it's interesting though when you go through the stuff with TTS talks and you listen to the way they're talking and what they're doing. Going back before like 2016, he had advisors within the military, and then when obviously when he got blown out the water for the fact that Tom DeLonge talked quite a lot about it, and the fact that as well, not just that, but when I think we talked about this before in one of the other podcasts where when the WikiLeaks came out. And then all the email chain for Hillary Clinton's email chains and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Tom DeLonge was in there talking to like John Podesta, and there was like links in with folk for Lockheed Martin and General McCaslin for the Air Force and stuff like that. There was like loads of stuff all linked into that, and then it all kind of went tits up. And then Hillary didn't get in, Trump won the election.
Yeah.
And then they've the thing is though, he talked about all that in Rogan. He talked about it in like 2016 in Rogan or something like that. And Rogan's like, he's fucking nuts. You know what I mean? And then kind of swearing this, no?
Yeah.
And then he said, and then in 2017, who's Tom DeLonge working for him? Jim Semivan, you know what I mean? Lou Elizondo, Steve Justice from like Lockheed Martin, you know what I mean? Like Jim Semivan was CIA, Lou Elizondo for the Pentagon, you know what I mean? You had Chris Mellon. All the different people, you know what I mean? So everything he was saying was like, it was allegedly true. So
yeah, I know that's it. It's like this is a thing that gets me, and there's no way, unless you know these people, there's no way of knowing who is actually telling the truth, who's being told, right? You need to go out and you need to say this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's like, are they right? Go out and tell them the truth, but it's that far-fetched. They're not going to believe you. Or go out, don't say anything to do with A, B, and C, and just fill the gaps.
Yeah, I mean,
they're very good at direction and good at propaganda.
Yeah,
I mean, I definitely think that Lou Elizondo, there's been like, so the way I see it is there's parts of the Pentagon that want stuff out, and there's part that didn't want it out. You know what I mean? And then that's easy to see when you can look at all the stuff and the books if you believe it. And Lou Elizondo's got an agenda to try and help push this out. Why? I mean, the thing is though, like there's been talk of which John Ramirez said that there's like some type of event that he knows in an official capacity going to happen 2027. Other people have talked about this as well. You know what I mean? So, I mean, was the need to push this out pretty quick because something is going to maybe show itself or whatever, you don't know. But it does look like that in regards to Lou Elizondo's got like a motive to try and get this out there. And there's a lot of people trying to keep it in. What actually is true and what's not true in regards to the whole kind of aspect of what they know. I mean, I'm not saying Lou Elizondo's like full shit, and I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about as what's true, as in how much do they know in regards to like the legacy programs. I mean, and what have they got? What do they actually know in regards to like, have they had any dealings with them, like, as in the others, or have they talked to them? Have they spoke to them? Do they know what they are? Have they fought them? You know what I mean, so all the types of questions. You know what I mean, like,
yeah.
One I always go back to, and I found it really interesting, is when you Terry Lovelace, when he was talking to the, would you call it, the hybrid kind of thing, Betty, that he dealt with quite a lot, and it came up with what's actually going on. And she went into like a lot of kind of things saying about like the government, and then obviously things to do with, there's like a base on the moon, and there's like reptilians and stuff like that. And basically that feed on people and stuff. I mean, it was like totally off there, like the chart stuff. But Terry Lovelace never put that in his first book. He put it in his second book, right? When he felt more comfortable putting it in. And I asked him the question. I said to him, I said, do you think that they lied to you or would lie to you? And he kind of said that, and I didn't mention what it was because I knew it was an uncomfortable topic for him, because when you go back and you listen to the statement, it's quite kind of like shocking, right? But he basically said that I'd feel quite aggrieved if she did lie to me for the fact that I had this kind of bond with her and stuff like that over like years of abductions and whatever else.
Yeah.
So he took it as it was true kind of thing. And I asked him a question then about, there was the whole thing when Lou Elizondo were out and they were like talking to military personnel and the History Channel's documentaries for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I'd asked Terry Lovelace, have they came and spoke to you? Because they were talking to a lot of military or ex-military personnel and stuff like that, and he didn't say anything. He changed the subject, but later on now I found out they had spoke to him, because I think that must have just been like close to the time when they maybe had spoke to him, or they were. But he kind of skipped the question a wee bit, because when I look back on it and I listened to it, and I kind of thought like I didn't press that too hard, and then he skipped the question a wee bit, and I kind of went on to something else, and I reckon it probably had no long happened or was happening, and then but now in another interview they did talk to him. Like Leo Elizondo did go and talk to him. So,
right,
that's an interesting bit though. Anyway, I'll let you go on.
Yeah, no, it's fine, because I was just thinking, so through the week, as you know, I drive for a living, so I get to use my phone during the day and make all the phone calls that I need to do. So you have a lot of long discussions, particularly like with Simon, Darren, and we go quite deep into all these, down these different rabbit holes. And it'd be great to record them, but it's the information that we're talking about. If we was to put it on air, it'd be shut down straight away. So this is one thing that we spoke about a couple of times. I had not heard of this before. Not heard of it in this term, but I've heard of people doing this. So it's when you have like a particular agency that works for particular agencies that run countries, where they suppose infiltrate or get in contact with other people to go on things like this or conferences and that, and try and I'm trying to word it correct, not dilute, but to change what's being spoke about. And they called the 77.
Yeah, just like try and gaslight somebody in another direction or something like that, or change.
So hello to anyone who's watching from the 77. probably get shut down now for that, but it is it's like a splinter branch of part of the military, and I'm going to do it while I'm not monetized on YouTube. I can get away with it. But yeah, they called the 77 Baby with a Laser. It was him that was telling me about it. And they're the ones that they'll be watching, like sat behind a computer watching what's going on. Infiltrate the force and narrative 77th Brigade. So they like go in and like, well, you go on there and you do this, you go on there, you do that, and they kind of like not brainwash them to do it, but I suppose give them an incentive to do it. So when we're getting all this stuff about disclosure, that's why I'm very take it with a pinch of salt, because I don't believe that it is ever going to be anything more than this is what you say and you do not say anything else.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, in regards to what he says in his book, there is a policy, a certain guideline of what they can say. I mean, he said that. I mean, in his book, basically, and he's, it was his book, I know, but he said it in one of the previous interviews where he can say, obviously, it always talks about the red lines he can talk to or walk up to and stuff like that. But he did go on and say that there is a guideline of what you can talk about, and what you can directly not talk about to do with this topic.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's the thing. You hardly. I was quite surprised to see that they talked about implants, because you never ever see anything to do with disclosure processors, and even like quite a lot of ufologists and stuff like that who just stuck to nuts and bolts would never talk about like abductions or anything. And then, but that's the kind of thing that now with the disclosure process, you didn't hear obviously nothing to do with any abductions experiences or nothing like that. But apart from obviously that's starting to kind of some things are coming out now. So
right, I've got a question for you two now, and this is something else I've been talking about this week, and I won't. It's not a dig at any of the guests that have been on, but it's more of a understanding of what's really going on. So, aliens are abducting humans. Are humans abducting aliens? That's the first one. Secondly, why would they need to abduct us if they've got this amazing advanced technology? What would they need us for? They say they need them for the reproductive organs, but if they can clone and do this, that, and the other, why can they not just clone any of that? Why are they coming and doing experiments and with the medibeds and all that kind of stuff? It doesn't make sense.
I mean, the thing is when you so it's almost like when you know yourself when you've looked into like abduction scenarios and stories and experiences, there's almost like a live getting taken away aspect to it. There's almost like another astral aspect to it sometimes as well. So, and there's been stories as well when Bob Monroe, who like had on the Monroe Institute, and he was into astral travel and stuff like that. He ended up on a table somewhere as well, and he was astral traveling. And it's right in what you say, where you get the whole kind of thing where, why do they need DNA and pulling people up and fetuses and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying, because it's if they're this far ahead technology wise.
Yeah.
But we're just surmising that though.
Oh yeah. But this is what I'm saying. It's like you said about the medibeds. If they can, your leg gets chopped off, your arm gets chopped off with these super soldiers, and they just stick them on a medibed and regrow it, or they give you a complete new body exactly the same as the old one.
Mm-hmm.
If they can do that, why do they need these to keep constantly abducting?
But think about like experiments that we do on like animals. I feel like mice in a lab situation is very different than wild mice. They're going to behave differently. They're going to react differently to certain things. Biologically, maybe it's the same, but physiologically, it's not.
Yeah, but it's like they used to do experiment with cigarettes on beagles, the dog breed, and imagine that with aliens getting us and like smelt that. Do you know what I mean? It's
well, here I'll do another analogy in regards to the reproductive thing aside, right? I'll go to that in a minute, right? But let's say, for example, you go back to let's say, for example, we see like some type of animal. So let's say it's lions in Africa or whatever it is, right? And we know down the line it's someone getting a disease or something like that, and they're going to end up all getting it and whatever else. So we would go in there, probably start tranking them, giving them some type of administering with something like that. So obviously down the line, they're not going to obviously get whatever it is, right? I'm not saying that's the case for us, but when you look at some of the kind of explanations that's put out there, I mean, you know, kind of surmising or whatever it is to your genetics are getting manipulated, so we can basically, I don't know, like come out of the bit of better evolution kind of thing, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, or a quicker evolution to something else, you know what I mean? And it's that kind of stuff. But the whole kind of reproductive side of it, I mean, there's a lot of kind of things you could just come out with for that. So let's say, for example, at this place, when you look at like what Bob Monroe said, right? Well, back to Bob Monroe, for example, he said this place was, we basically give off something that somebody needs, right? And it might be, and he used an analogy like a cow, for example. A cow eats grass, produces milk, right? Doesn't need all the milk it does for its young. We take that milk, we use it. The cows know better, offer it and stuff like that, right? And he used it as that, and he used it as a thing called loosh, if you don't know the term loosh, right? So loosh is, he's got a thing for it. So when Bob Monroe went back through basically time and all that kind of stuff and kept doing astral traveling, he ended up found the reason why we were here. What he said was anyway, and he ended up going through the thing where it was a cultivation of different organisms to actually like refine this whatever it is, right?
Got you.
And then we got to a point where when we were at war and giving off emotion and stuff like that, or things like that, we gave off more of it. So it was almost like something feeding in it or something taking it or whatever it was. Something we just can't even get the concept of it. And then he got down to the point where he said that love even made it even more, right? With whatever it is that we give off and all that kind of stuff. So it was into that. It wasn't actually like a thing that comes out your body. It was like a field or whatever. It's like something that we might not know what it is. So that was like kind of one take on that. So if you've got people or like whatever they are, right, trying to cultivate this whatever it is better, and genetically they can make that production better, maybe that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Because like when these, sorry, go on.
From the genome.gov, clones have an increase in defects of the vital organs, such as the liver, heart, and brain. They have premature aging and problems with their immune system. So cloning is not perfect, even if they're cloning people. They need some raw DNA too.
Yeah, but with what Chris was saying about they need stuff from us, and a lot of people are saying, like a lot of professionals saying, they feed off our fear. I've been looking into the Saturn worship. I know it's kind of going off topic a little bit, but it will bring it back in, I promise. So when they're doing these, I'm not going to say what they do, but the sacrificing, when they're at that highest point of fear, there's so many different chemicals that are created and released into the body. So that's when they're drinking the red juice, the red wine of the body. So they're getting that, as in DMT and what did Blue Shift put?
Adrenochrome.
I can't pronounce it. Adrenochrome. So they're getting that, and that is to make that. The adrenochrome is pretty impossible, but your body can make it in what, minutes, seconds, or whatever. It creates it through the chemicals and everything in the body.
Gland and stuff like that.
Yeah. So if whether they've got that or not, but like I said, at that highest point of fear, and this is where I get the feeding from the fear. You have to be that scared to the point of just before death that's when they can take that from the body. So that will then take it back to you saying about the cows being taken, and that's why they're completely drained of blood. Because if they can do it to humans, surely they can do it to animals as well. So if that cow is at the highest point of just before death, then they're extracting that chemical, not just the blood, but the only way to get it is through the blood, because that's the only liquid system in the body that circulates.
See, if you look at it this way, right? If you look at it this way in regards to, so if you take the loosh thing, right, and I advise if you don't know the loosh, type it into Google or even YouTube, and it'll come up like the bit an extract for the book. Bob Monroe goes through like the actual description of what it is, and then how he felt after knowing it, and then what he kind of found out after and stuff like that. It comes out quite positive at the end. It's not a negative kind of thing. So if you look at, let's say, for example, there's a whole ecosystem out there that we don't know about, which there probably is, right? And this could be all types of different beings and organisms, right? But then you've got like some type of bigger race there that it is doing something like that to cultivate like this. And it's like, it's not a thing for the body. It's actually something the body gives off, right? Like say something the energy or something like that, right? And it's created through emotion, right? Which could be hatred, anger, stuff like that, and at the other sense, love and goodness and all that kind of stuff, right? And then you might have other things that are basically coming in, and just like let's say, for example, a farmer's got a field, and you get like somebody else who's coming in and taking a couple of turnips here and there. So maybe you get other things like that coming. That's how you get things feeding on fear and all that kind of stuff, and you get all these crazy attachments, hitchhiking and everything. But let's go back to, if you go back to the whole loosh thing, right? And so let's say good creates it, as in like good thoughts, good emotions, all that, but also bad emotions that create it. So how would you manage that? You know what I mean? So if you look at, you've got good and evil.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got good and evil. So that's like, so they two kind of sides manage either side kind of thing. So that's what you can kind of pull kind of some type of kind of for that. So it's interesting though when you look into the whole kind of loose thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. But just while you're talking about Monroe, we have a guy coming on in a few weeks' time. He's going to the Monroe Institute, and then he's going to come on and talk about it. The guy called, don't know why I do podcasts. I can't talk. The guy's called Adam Butler. That's the guy who sent me the book about the DMT.
Yeah.
I'll just show you quickly for those who haven't seen it. So DMT Field Guide. And if you go to page 56, it tells you everything you need to know.
This is the...
So,
that there is the...
everything you need to know.
That's the that's the old CDs in the gateway process.
Are they the ones that you sent me?
Yeah, but I've got
a while ago.
I've got like another kind of file with it on, you know what I mean? But that's
right.
That's the CDs that you buy kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But aye, interesting though.
So Adam, so it was Brandon Johnson. Amazing. Oh no, Brandon Johnson. I'm making names up now. Sorry. Brandon Thomas of Expanding Reality. Absolute amazing guy who introduced me to Don Lester, who also sent me a book. Thank you, Don. He put Adam in touch with me, and so he's going to come on and talk about pretty much some of what's gone on in the book, other things he's done, where he's been, and obviously once he's been to the Monroe Institute, he's going to talk about that and his findings and all that kind of stuff. So that's, I think that the psychedelic side, not just the psychedelics, but the frequency side to it and Inner Earth are my two top favorite subjects, closely followed by cryptids.
Read the, if you get a chance, read the Robert Monroe books, right? There's one called Journeys Out of the Body, Far Journeys, and Ultimate Journey. Amazing books. Absolutely amazing.
Let me page mark it because I will forget. There we go.
What we do your show and have like 37 tabs to look up later.
I do. I can't click. Yeah. As soon as you open the computer, it's just like right across the top of the screen. So I don't remember typing half this stuff in. But yeah, it's just something else. But the frequency thing, it's like colors, light, sound, just everything is just everything is made of frequency. And the more you look into it, the more amazing it becomes. So
I'm trying to be like more conscious about frequencies and stuff like that, you know, music that's produced at a certain frequency versus like older music that's produced at a more harmonious frequency, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Because I meant to ask when Phil and Daz were on the other night about the Shaolin monks, about how they do their martial arts and their routines, but also when they use frequencies in what they do. It's
like
just
the singing bowls and everything.
Yeah. Well, I think Jane does that. Chiro Sounds.
Mm-hmm.
They're on in a couple of weeks, but Nicole's not, so she's going to miss it again.
Interesting one is
number 2.
With the Monroe stuff, it's always like the hemisync where you get the frequency, the different sound frequencies. And there's another one as well called Sacred Acoustics, which is quite good as well. And
you have to wear headphones because, like you said, you get different sounds in different ears because
you got one tone will go
to certain parts
another tone will go 2 different tones, but in the middle it says kind of like it's
and
when
it just gone. Yeah. But that's what they're the sort of things that I listen to when I'm meditating, because now I've just got everything linked to the computer now. So when I'm getting ready, I just put the headphones on. Binaural beats, isochronic tones, all that kind of stuff. I just put that on and then just go into it, and it's just one of the most amazing feelings. Just sat there and you forget where you are, you forget what you're doing, and you just go with it. Some people, I know some people that can't listen to it. It's just, it irritates them. I suppose a bit like the way Wi-Fi and broadband and all that affects you, Chris.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
well, that like AC music that goes from one ear to the other and like back and forth. Apparently, that is like a test of if you're neurodivergent, because if you have like ADHD or something, it calms your brain, and if you're not, it bugs the hell out of you.
Oh, I like it.
I like it as well.
I do have ADHD.
I mean, it's just the one with the Sacred Acoustics and stuff like that. It's like one tone in one ear and a different tone in the other, and then it's like a reverberating tone when it comes together in the middle. But I use them as well. When I wake up at 3 a.m, which I do on occasion, the whole 3 o'clock thing, I just plug them in now and again to get myself kind of just back to sleep or whatever. So
tell you what, I've got these. Definitely worth buying.
Yeah, I think I will get a set of them.
The Bluetooth ones, just charge them up, link them to the Echo, put some music on. I just need to remember to keep charging them and then just go. But that, when I try, I've not done it for a while. When I was trying to do the astral travel, I tried different techniques, but it was only by putting them on that I would feel the vibrations. Every time I tried it without them, it never worked. So it's got to be something in the sound. It's got to be the frequency. But who knows?
There's loads out there.
I know. There's so much. Right, question for you both now. If you had to choose one rabbit hole to go down, what would it be?
What would it be? I'm quite interested. Oh, you go first, Nicole. Sorry.
I just say conspiracies for me, like government conspiracies and cover-ups.
Yeah.
One of the ones I was thinking about recently was like it's kind of same as well, conspiracy bit is like with Epstein, right? So Epstein and the whole kind of thing where him probably being a CIA plant and stuff like that. And he was also interested in getting like Eric Weinstein in, and he was talking about like and Stephen Hawkins, because he was interested in physics and to do with gravity and to do with gravity, right? So obviously that's the CIA behind him, allegedly. All right. And then when you look at, so that's like obviously that's a front, and that whole thing's a CIA like project or whatever, right? Allegedly. When you look back in time, there was a guy called Alexander Gaterma, right? Who was a guy who was in like, I think it was like maybe the 60s, 70s, came for nothing, started off doing loads of trading, ended up had parties and that, sex parties, all that kind of stuff. Shady as hell guy, all that. Exact same MO as Epstein. You know what I mean? But it's just maybe 40 years prior. That's a rabbit hole and a half.
But then you got Aleister Crowley, which wasn't that much different. Yeah, he was trying to open portals, and he was doing these 13 rituals to do what he needed to do. But he was going off like from America to the UK every month or every couple of months, staying for weeks on end, then coming back.
Yeah.
So it's not much different, really, if you think about it.
And then we got P. Diddy.
You can have
That's
him.
it. P. Diddy, yeah. Next one. Yeah.
P. Diddy, definitely. Yeah. Wow. That's going to be another. Because I've noticed a lot of people in the chat are saying about this, and especially on TikTok, there's a lot of he's going to expose the elites, and they're going to bring everything down. So if they knew he was going to do that, how has he now been arrested? Surely they would have found a way to stop that from happening.
Don't know.
Just
No idea.
Interesting one,
Wow.
though. But the whole Epstein thing was quite interesting. I mean, that is.
But,
there's a lot to that.
But is the P. Diddy thing a distraction?
Could be, or like instead of going after the actual people who are like running it, he's the fall guy. He pissed somebody off.
Yeah, there we go. I astral travelled into inner Earth and bumped into Pat Butcher. You probably did.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just everything just seems to be a distraction.
Yeah.
I mean, everything. There's nothing that's just kosher, legit. Do you know what I mean? It's all.
That's the thing these days.
On.
Yeah, that's the thing these days. You don't know what is kosher and legit. I mean, because there's too much shit out there. But then you trust governments, but then you trust the media. You know what I mean? You can't believe everything you see on social media. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing. They say don't trust the media, and then everyone jumps on Facebook and TikTok and all that. I go through it because I refuse to watch the news or even look at a paper now. And I go through it more to share crap memes over the weekend, as you guys probably know. I do apologize for that, but it's going to keep happening. But it's just people's reactions to what's going on, and then you look at the comments, and these are from real. A lot of it are from real people. I'm not saying every single one is a real person, but I'd say at least 80% of it is. So you're getting the true reaction of people's thoughts of what's happening. And I think that's the best bit about it. Whereas the media, it's on TV, it's on a bit of paper, it's on a tablet or a phone. And what you see, that's it. There's no interaction for you other than you reading and looking at what's going on. Whereas these others are different.
Like the mainstream media will post something, and then people in the comments are like, well, hey, how about this? Hey, look at this picture from this year. And so they're adding more depth to the story.
Yeah. And I don't. Yeah, it's not my thing.
Unless it's the 77 infiltrating that as well.
Which it probably is. Probably 78 now. I reckon someone in the chat's just joined up. No, but like I said, I'd never heard of 77 before. And then, but I'd not heard of it as that name. I've heard of like the type of things that, the type of groups that do that, but didn't realise that there was an actual name for them. So, who knew? And that's it. We've hit our time span. So, thank you, Chris, for coming on at such short notice.
Cheers, guys. Always welcome.
Yeah. Good
we need to do more like this. So, and for those who don't know or haven't watched, me and Chris, was it about a year, 18 months ago? We did 4 or 5 weeks of Skinwalker Ranch. Chris basically made me watch every single episode of Skinwalker Ranch, season 1, 2, 3. Was it 1, 2, and 3? I think
4.
It was on
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
47 episodes.
So we've got 5 to do, but it's not long to go. So we'll do 5 when that's done.
Yeah, we can do 5. We'll do that in December if you want.
That's on the now. So I still have to watch some of them.
Yeah, I've not got anything planned for December. I'm not bothering with Christmas. Yeah, but no, if you want to do that one,
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, you up for it?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, we do have one question. Sorry, Sober. This is for Chris, and he's asking: has there ever been any trace of the big grey man captured, i.e., Cass hair pictures?
No, that I know, right? But I meant to mention something else when I was talking about it. No,
Yeah.
no, that I don't think so. Not really sure. But there is an old book that dates back hundreds and hundreds of years, and it's like called the History of Caledonia, right?
Right.
And in that, there's a 2-page bit in that, and it refers to this thing called somebody had sent it to me after I was talking to Paul Sinclair, and I went and looked at the bit, and it's in there, and it's this thing called, I'm sure it's called the Satras, and it was a monkey type man, which was very, very large in stature, which came into an area, and the people, it would only be scared by fire. Right, so the people would basically like light beacons and stuff like that to keep these things away, and then I think like they got like fed up with them because like women couldn't go walking about themselves and all that kind of stuff. This is in Scotland, and then they eventually tried to hunt them out. But it was like described as a large monkey man which could communicate between themselves with no anybody else with shouts and grunts and all that kind of stuff. So it's quite interesting. But it's called the Satras. I'm sure which somebody did a wee podcast on it as well when I was looking into it. Deborah, it talks about like the Bigfoot and stuff like that.
Oh, Hatswell, BBR.
Yeah. So she's talking about it as well. Yeah, so it's called this. I'm sure it's called the Satras or something like that. But it was in a book called the History of Caledonia. I was trying to look at place names and stuff like that to see if there's any other linkages yet, but it was like in this basically Dundee area. So quite interesting. But good question.
Yep. No, thank you. Sorry, Sober. I nearly missed that. I do apologise. Right, we've hit the end. Nicole, you got anything you want to add before we go?
No.
Nothing.
I did my updates earlier.
Cool. I've not got anything. So, Chris?
Cool, thanks. Just thanks for having me. And see you all in the chat.
More than welcome. Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you to everyone who's listening on podcast. Do appreciate you downloading it and following. Don't forget we are part of the next network of Paranormal Radio, where we go at 10 p.m. on a Saturday evening, EST. So thank you to everyone who watches on there. Really appreciate it. It's just great to be part of something else. So cheers. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Bridget, for introducing me to it. And that's it. So everyone have a wonderful weekend. We will be back. I will be back on Monday, where I've got, not going to look at the calendar, Dana Louise. So she's on 8:30 till 9 Monday. That's it. She was on with Tommy a couple of weeks ago on his podcast. So he said she's a great guest as well. So, yeah. And then we just got loads and loads, and they're just all on there. You can go on YouTube channel, have a look. I've done all.
I know. I couldn't find this.
So I've made every live stream.
You couldn't find tonight's one because all the rest of them are on. Yeah, I see that.
I did it. I just like, last night, it's like, right, if I don't get it done, I'm not going to get in front. So I just made every single live stream ready for all the guests that we've got. Sorry, but it needed to be done. Right, so gonna go. Have a great weekend, guys. Hopefully I'll be putting the drone footage up on, that'll go on Patreon for everyone. Thank you to Nicole for joining that as well. We have now got 10 members. So yeah, so if you do want to help out with the show, help with the running and support, you can join. You can do the paid membership, or you can join for free. But the paid membership will get more content than the non-paying ones. So that's it. Right. Well, have a great weekend and see you guys Monday. Take care and goodbye.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, Andy. Cheers, Nicole.
Cheers. See you later. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Catch you later. Bye.